Blake out front around Waters, down the left side, baseline shot, good! Merlakian Jones just hit one with 4/10 of a second left. Wow, what a shot!
Merlakia's Miracle took care of the Orlando Miracle on Wednesday night, and here tonight the Rockers will look to extend their winning streak to 4 as they play host to the Indiana Fever. Good evening and welcome to Rockers Basketball on Fox Sports Net. I'm Mike Snyder along with Amy Pritchard, ready to bring you all of tonight's action. And what a week it's been for the Rockers. What a great victory for them over Orlando. And Amy, we saw Merlakia's shot, but she had a lot of help.
Well, she sure did. This Cleveland team is 4-1 since Ava Nemkova went down with the ACL injury. Why? Everybody's stepping up. There you saw Trisha Bader hit a 3. Here you're going to see Mary Andrade. Against Orlando, they hit a record 11 3-pointers from the outside. And you know what happens when you do that? You open up the inside. Chastity Melvin, boy, she's been big inside down low.
And Merlakia coming up big. This was in the overtime at the buzzer, and a little late shake there, and she'll be shaking her way to the All-Star game for the second time. Very solid this year. Those numbers from Merlakia, over 10 points a game. So the Rockers get ready to take on Indiana. That win over first place Orlando has moved Cleveland right behind the Miracle. Amy, look at those standings. They are tight.
Well, don't forget now, in each conference, 4 teams go to the playoff. Cleveland is right in the hunt, and what their chances are very good. They've got 13 games left, 6 are at home. But here's the key. They only play 2 teams with a better record than they have, Mike. They control their own destiny.
But it's not all that easy, even against the lesser teams in this league. In the expansion matchups this year, the Rockers have had their problems as they get ready to host Indiana tonight.
Well, everybody says, why is it so tough to beat expansion teams? It's pretty simple. You can't scout them. They keep changing their roster. They keep changing what they run. It makes it very difficult to prepare your team to beat them. And let's think about it. In the pros, that's what you do. You prepare your team to let them play.
Well, the Rockers get ready to take on Indiana this evening. Right now, let's take a look at our Cleveland Clinic injury update. Every life deserves world-class care. Gilmore out for Indiana, and Ava Nemkova out for the season. She underwent surgery on Thursday, and hopefully Ava is resting well, and we'll see her back here next year ready to go. But the Rockers get ready tonight to take on an Indiana team that's won its last 2. Can Merlakia and company keep it going together? We'll have the lineups and opening tips straight ahead.
Feel lucky today? By First Merit. How can we help you today? And by Southwest Airlines. Log on for low fares at www.southwest.com. A symbol of freedom.
We welcome you back to Gund Arena as the Rockers in this extended homestand. They're in the middle of a game of here at the Gun. Let's take a look at our starting lineup tonight. One of the forward spots, Rusha Brown and Alicia Thompson the other. In the middle, Chastity Melvin Williams and Susie Patty Broderick, Tommy Nunez, and Gary Zielinski, and we are underway. And glad to have you with us on Fox Sports Net as the Rockers look for their 4th win in a row, and a quick whistle and a foul is called on Kara Walters inside as the Rockers got it down low to Rusha Brown.
It's kind of interesting to me on that one, Mike. Rusha Brown was definitely backing into Kara Walters, and Cleveland got the call that time. Surprisingly, no contact anywhere except her belly.
Mary Andrade working inside and hits. Well, Mary has been quite a story as she's become a starter after Ava Nemkova went down, and what a job she has done.
Well, Coach Hughes says she's doing the same thing she was doing. It's just for more minutes now than before.
I think also we've seen a little more of an offensive game from Mary maybe than we thought, and maybe it's just as you point out with the minutes she's getting. Turnover there by Gruben gives the Rockers the ball, and Donovan, who played her college ball at Old Dominion, just like Mary Andrade a few years before Mary was there.
Same team as Nancy Lieberman.
And we got a quick foul on Williams. They've had a pretty good tradition.
Yes, they have, and they've continued it. It's one of those kind of small town schools that continues to do well in the women's game, like Louisiana Tech. Zone here by Indiana. A little surprised to see that.
McConnell Serio with the 3. Now the Rockers have been on fire, Amy, as you pointed out, from 3-point range of late. And it is interesting, as Nemkova has been sidelined, they've turned it up from three-point range.
You know what's happened? Teams playing against Cleveland are thinking now, hey, now the strength of Cleveland is inside. Let's make them shoot the ball from the outside. And Cleveland has just stepped up and made them pay.
And there's a three ball, and that one is good by Monica Maxwell.
There's a Louisiana Tech standout. Monica Maxwell can bury it from anywhere. What's tough about Indiana, Mike, is they've got 5 players that can shoot the ball from three-point range. You can't cheat on any of them.
Well, this team is 5-14, but they've won their last 2. They won on the road at Washington earlier this week, and then last night a winner over Seattle. So they've got a little confidence coming into tonight as Andrade hits just inside the line. I thought that might have been a 3. Mary's got a streak going there from three-point range. She's hit her last 5 from outside the line.
Maxwell went behind that pick, and what happened is she couldn't come out and defend that.
And a foul is called on the Rockers. Looks like Chastity Melvin has picked up a personal foul, and the battle inside against Kara Walters.
He called a knee. Remember, you're allowed to touch with a forearm, a hand, or a leg, but not 2 points.
Walters at 6'7". She was with Houston last year, and stepping on the baseline out of bounds was Rita Williams. That'll give the ball to the Rockers.
You gotta love Mary Andrade. She looks at Coach Hughes and says, hey, that was my bad. I didn't box out. But smartly, after she didn't box out, Mike, she did a great job of just cutting off the baseline and not trying to overcompensate for a mistake.
The Rockers beat Indiana earlier this year, 83-70. Inside, Arusha Brown, easy deuce.
Notice how calm and relaxed this Cleveland offense is right now. Not forcing anything.
And Donovan wants a timeout. I think it's a 20-second timeout. As the Rockers, just very patient, as you mentioned, Amy, just taking a look at it. They're 4-4 from the field. And Dan Hughes has to like what he's seen thus far in the early going of this one. The Rockers at 68.4 points per game.
One of the things that happens against the zone is when the ball goes to what's called the dead spot, which is the baseline below the basket, it draws the defender, and that always opens up the low block. And you see Cleveland just executing the dead spot and the high post running through the low post. They executed it very, very well.
Arusha Brown at 8.7 a game. She has given this team some big numbers. She had 24 a little over a week ago in a Rockers win against Charlotte. So the Rockers up early. Indiana did play last night, had to travel today. So certainly the Rockers want to take it to them. Inside to Kara Walters. Taken away by Mary Andrade.
Notice Cleveland saying, let's push the ball, let's push the ball. But what Indiana's going to do and has been doing thus far is every time the ball goes to point in an outlet, they're trying to come out and slow the ball down.
And the pass for Brown was stolen by the Fever.
Actually, that's kind of a neat nickname, don't you think? Because then you can say, catch it.
Catch the fee. Yeah, all kinds of things you can do with that.
Even I could mark it with that.
There you go. No, what's that? You have very good marketing ideas.
Thank you, Michael.
You do. Merlikia hit that shot that had him rocking here the other night. Inside Mary Andrade. And the Rockers getting it much too easily.
Well, it might look easy, Mike, but the reason they got it is Mary Andrade did a great job of just pinning her girl, which means she kept her on the high side away from the basket. And when the ball reverses, the defense has got to move. Great execution.
Well, the Rockers quickly out in front by 8. Maxwell shot blocked by Andrade. What hasn't Mary done in the opening minutes of this game? She's blocked a shot. She's had a steal. She's hit 3 shots out of the 3 she's attempted.
Well, think about it. She's 6'1", defensively guarding a shooter. That's a great position to be in.
Merlikia Jones drains the 3, and the Rockers are rolling here. Everybody involved.
They're kind of a streaky team offensively, don't you think?
Well, we're riding a big ride now. 6 out of 6. And Rita Williams answered, so Indiana dangerous with that 3-point shot themselves.
Pretty interesting to me what Indiana's doing. They work the ball around the outside, try to get outside shots, and then eventually Kara Walters is going to score from the inside as a result. That's opposite of what most football teams and most basketball teams do. They try to score inside first.
And we've got a whistle inside against the Fever. So the Rockers looking for a cure for the Fever tonight, and they're out in front early here at the gun. Thea Cooper and the rest of the Houston Comets this Thursday, July 20th at the Gun. This exciting matchup tips off at noon. First 5,000 fans will receive a free Rockers backpack courtesy of Giant Eagle and Kraft. Good seats starting at just $8. Still available by calling 216-241-2121. So make your plans to be here this Thursday afternoon at noon. Crowd here tonight enjoying what they've seen thus far. The Rockers 6 of 6 from the field. Or 6 of 7 as they missed that shot. And we've got a foul inside on Cleveland. The thing is, Amy, when you get off to a quick start and a good start like this, you tend to, there are some times where coaches are always worried that maybe it comes a little too easily as the game moves along.
Well, I think Cleveland just got to, I hate to be, got to just take care of business. The only thing I would worry about as a coach is that when you start out this hot, sometimes you don't see quite the necessity to play defense with as much intensity as you do when you're behind or when you're not shooting the ball well.
And Waters, the rookie from Belgium, checks in. He's ready to go. Chastity Melvin will take a break. Chastity, a couple of fouls early. Thompson at the line. Gets 1 out of 2. Rockers lead is 7. Full court pressure from Indiana.
3 people surrounding Susie McConnell-Serio. I think they want to slow down their break. What do you think, Mike?
I think that's a strategy that Ann Donovan said we got to. She's looking for anything right now. As Lake Jones feeling good. She's hit the last 3 shots she's taken, and one was a game winner.
When you know you're at a disadvantage defensively in a half-court situation, you're smart to come back up and full court press.
And a foul is called on Danielle McCulley. And that'll give the ball to the Rockers. She gets the elbow up. Now it's McConnell-Serio against Grubin.
You watch this expansion team, and everybody you're looking at, you think, gee, didn't they play somewhere else last year? Well, yeah, they did.
Now the Rockers capitalizing on all the mistakes early by Indiana. But they've had a good week. They won last night against Seattle and then defeated Washington.
The record is not indicative. At one point in a 9-game stretch, they'd only lost by a total of 15 points, Mike. So they played decent ball, but you got to learn how to win when you got a new group of people together.
The Rockers trying to run, and a beautiful steal the other way by Rita Williams, blocked by Ann Waters. Oh, have some of that from the lady from Belgium. Helen Darling will check in.
Check out Susie McConnell-Serio. She's looking the entire time at Merlakia Jones. Rita Williams is back defensively for transition. She says, I'm going to watch Susie's eyes and pick that off. You know where Rita Williams played, don't you? Trivia.
Rita Williams, she's a UConn.
Yeah, she's been taught well.
Yeah. In fact, there are a few UConn alums on this Indiana roster, and that's a pretty good program when we go to the East. We were talking about some of the great programs in women's college basketball. Louisiana Tech, Old Dominion, UConn, of course, Tennessee in recent years, and more teams, actually. I mean, we're seeing that, but some of them were like Old Dominion and Louisiana Tech. They've had great women's basketball for years, as Merlakia just feeling terrific right now. The Rockers are up by 11.
Mike, it always amazes me. Lake loves to go to her left, and it amazes me how we play teams, and they continue to either force her that way or let her go that way. Not that I want to give away any trade secrets.
Now, see, it's a right-hander's world, and they just think right-handed. I'm a lefty, I can say that.
See, so many of us that are right-handed work on our left hands twice as much, so we'll be better, and sometimes you end up being better going to your weak hand.
Tremitiere bothered and fouled by Helen Darling. There's Chantel. She's been around the WNBA, and Helen Darling, newcomer to the league this year, rookie out of Penn State.
I asked Helen Darling how it was going to feel to play against Stephanie White-McCarty, because as you recall, Helen was at Penn State, Stephanie was at Purdue, and the year that Purdue won it all, that was a great rivalry.
3-second violation is called. Now the Big Ten, of course, you were there a few years back at Northwestern.
Just a few.
Just a few. That's what I said. Just a few. I did say that. Just a few. But boy, that conference
dog years
in women's basketball has really come on. Dog years. There you go. Yeah,
just a few years.
That's right.
In dog years.
There you go.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Penn State great
Purdue.
this year. Purdue.
Ohio State's had a good program.
Penn State, the Rockers point guard connection there. McConnell, Serio, just going back a few, and Helen Darling out of last year. Well, the Rockers have taken advantage of the Indiana miscues. Mary Andrade holds on to it up front. We've got a whistle away from the ball, and this one's going to be on McCulley. So Danielle quickly gets her second personal foul. She is out of Western Kentucky, and we're going to get a look at Jurgita Stremakita entering the game from Lithuania.
Can I just call her Jurgita?
You sure can.
You're good to me.
For the Rockers with a fresh 30 seconds on the shot clock. Lake Jones loving it on the baseline, misses that one, but Rusha Brown is there.
She got that, Mike, because as the ball left Lake's hand, she was moving to weak side, which we know is where the ball's going to bounce. She's got that quick first step.
Rusha with a very good read to the game, and the Rockers with their biggest lead at 13 with just over 13 minutes to play. And a foul on the Rockers, but Merlakia Jones sparking the Rockers in the early going tonight. That's from three-point range that time. And Lake, she loves that baseline area. The game winner the other night. And 3 buckets already here this evening. And she has 7 points, and the Rockers lead at 20-7. McCarty, long range. And Ann Waters says this one belongs to me. It's all Cleveland early here at the gun.
Cleveland's doing a nice job of keeping the floor spread. Defensively, it makes it tough to help out.
And Waters on a beautiful feed from Merlakia Jones.
That was a great pass by Lake. She put the ball down low from around her kneecap, and wherever you let go of it, that's how high it's going to bounce on the other end. It was easy.
Stremakita on the turnaround. Jurgita averaging a little over 4 points a game, 6'3" from Lithuania.
And if you get into the rhythm of saying that name, Mike, it's kind of a neat name.
Yeah. It's not that hard when you do it a little phonetically. The Rockers doing it inside and outside tonight, as that number tells you on the paint. The Rockers 10-2. They turn it over. Rusha Brown's going to take a break. Rusha's had a. Merlakia is going to take a break here as she sits down, and Vicky Hall will check in. Vicky Hall has given the Rockers some big minutes this year. Lake Jones sitting down with 7 points. And a strong start off of her game winner the other night against Orlando. Boy, this building was rocking the other night. Just a great ball game against first place Orlando.
Every time they play Orlando, it's a barn burner.
Yeah, Nemkova hit one earlier in the season here. And we've got a timeout on the floor. So there is an official timeout here at Gund Arena. And the Rockers feeling mighty good about things. We'll be back. Let's go into the Rockers huddle and hear what Coach Hughes said to the troops.
Keep working to take the ball inside, all right? Keep working, take it inside. Now, we got to keep the pressure on their perimeter right now, all right? Let's stay active on the perimeter inside, rebound, and run the floor, ladies, run the floor. Give me about a minute, I'll give you a blow, okay? Let's go now, come on, here we go. Ready?
All right, back to live action. Tremitier just missed a jump shot, Rockers ball. Melvin, Waters, Andrade, Hall, and Darling are on the floor for Dan Hughes, who has allowed us into his huddle throughout the season and the locker room at the half. Really giving us some insight, Amy, as to what's going to happen. He's been great about that.
Yeah, he has. And you notice he was talking about you take the ball inside. Why do you do that? 1, to try to draw fouls. 2, the more you take it inside successfully, the more you're going to open up your outside game. Shot
clock is down to 5, and the Rockers turn it over. So not a good possession for Cleveland there. Tremitier against Darling.
The one thing Helen's got to learn, Mike, is to make better decisions when the clock runs down. And that's just going to take time and experience. Sometimes she tries to make great plays instead of just good plays. Make the easy pass.
McCarty, who starred at Purdue, hanging on to it against Hall. Fever now with a shot clock dwindling down to 5. Stremakita. That was a pass, and that is a shot clock violation. So strong defense by the Rockers to the chagrin of Ann Donovan. And there's Trisha Bader, and look at her performance the other night against Orlando, stepping up in the big game.
You know, what's interesting is when Ava Nemkova was playing, Cleveland played 9 players. Now she's injured. Cleveland still plays 9 players. Who's playing more minutes? Trisha Bader. She's ready.
Yeah, third year in the WNBA. She's quite a story. Played a long time in Australia and Tasmania, actually.
She's got a nice looking shot. Mike can drill it from the outside if she's open.
Now that time, not enough on that pass by Tricia. And a steal by the Fever. McCarty, she can stroke it. Off the mark that time. Battle for the rebound, out of bounds to Cleveland off of Strumakita. Now the Rockers kind of stuck on this number 22, but the Fever stuck on number 9 at midway through this first half.
Oh, off that right knee, Urgita. Good call by the official, Mike. I got to point that out when it happens.
There you go. Helen Darling got trapped on the baseline. And the foul is called on Strumakita. That's her first. And that is team foul number 5 on the Fever.
See how Helen backed up when that double team came at her? She needs to duck her head and try to step through the trap and just split it.
You know, there are some things, though, just a rookie. These are things that you can just see, though, what she already does, that she will be fine. McCulley over to McCarty. And the Rockers force another turnover. They have taken advantage of those miscues, and that's a major reason why they're up by 13.
Ball fakes right now against Indiana would be effective. They're running at that ball handler. Ball fake it and throw it the opposite way.
Little volleyball there by Ann Waters, keeping it alive for Cleveland. Bader and Darling getting minutes together on the floor. Here's Trish, and she hit the shot, but a turnover.
Moving screen.
Well, we got, yep. This one's on Chastity Melvin. That's number 3 on Chas.
Watch Stephanie McCarty go behind. Now, if Melvin would have just opened up like she was setting a pick and rolling, she might have gotten away with it, but she just kind of kept running. You got to stay there, woman.
Now, Chastity picking up that personal. Now, Dan Hughes, I think, wants to get her out of there with 3 fouls. Chas going to sit down. She has not scored tonight and is already saddled with 3 personals. Rusha Brown returning with 4 points. Well, the Rockers juggling things up a little bit here with some foul trouble for Chas Melvin.
And Mike, you talked about it earlier. What happens when you get an early big lead? Cleveland last 7 possessions, 5 turnovers. Trying to do too much passing into the post.
Quinney hanging on. Texlin Quinney with a pass for Walters, and went right to Waters. Walters versus Waters. And the Rockers turn it over. So not a pretty sight, the video in the last couple of minutes of this one here, as these teams can each way make mistakes.
They're pretty good teaching tape, though, Mike. You can talk about passing angles and targets and decision making.
There's the coach. Sometimes, okay, here's what not to do, right? For the last couple of minutes here at Gund Arena, Ann Waters sits down. Rockers have not scored a point in nearly 4 minutes. Tom Bushenik tells me 3 minutes and 54 seconds.
And here's my question. How long has it been since Indiana scored?
We have an Indiana total. Look at that. 8 possessions, 6 turnovers. Ooh. So we've been kind when we said the last few minutes. We're going to get one of those Mission Impossible videos, you know, that this tape will destruct for the last few minutes.
That's what happens sometimes, though. You tell your team, you say, hey, let's try to get the ball inside, and sometimes you over-try instead of just reversing the ball and then getting it inside.
And the Rockers, really, we should say, you're going to say that about the last few minutes. The first 5 minutes, they played about as well technically as you probably could expect.
And you know what the moral of the story is, Mike? When you drill your shots, it covers a multitude of sins. The first 5 minutes, Cleveland just drilled it.
We've gone over 4 minutes now without a team scoring.
Put me in.
Carol Walters just trying to drive her way by Rusha Brown, and she gets called for traveling.
A drop step with too many drops.
And Donovan says, what's going on here? 8 minutes to play as the turnovers continue to grow here, and not the points. McConnell Serio will return at the next break. And finally, Vicky Hall says that's enough of that.
You know, one of the things that I think Lake Jones is doing so much better this year is drawing attention to herself and then kicking it to her teammates for easy buckets, and that was just an example.
And Danielle McCulley answers the other way. So after that 4 and about a half-minute lapse, the team's trade baskets. Helen Darling penetrating here, out now to Vicky Hall. Rusha Brown down low, Travers.
Mike, notice how Cleveland is first pass, kicking it down low, reverse the ball.
Well, each team is struggling a bit here midway through this first half, but the Rockers still enjoy the big lead. We'll be back. We're out speaking about breast health awareness.
Well, the WNBA and NAPCO have come together this year, along with Sears, and they're trying to encourage women to go out and have their breasts examined. They want to get mammograms so that you can have this early detection and take care of these things yearly. If you're 20 and older, we advise that you go in and have your breast exam with a gynecologist, and if you're 40 and older, we want you to go in and have a mammogram.
I think the procedure is very uncomfortable, but necessary. Regardless of how terrible you might think the procedure is, know that it's very important because you can't really detect breast cancer, but the mammograms can.
Stop into your local Giant Eagle store now until July 22nd and help Ben & Jerry's and Giant Eagle team up against breast cancer. Purchase 2 pints and receive a ticket to the August 6th Rockers game. Also during this time period, 5 cents of every pint purchase will be donated to the American Cancer Society for breast cancer research and awareness. See stores for complete details. Rusha Brown out today with her mom, and next Saturday a special evening here at Gund Arena. Now the Rockers up by 13. McCulley's turnaround cuts it down to 11. The Rockers in their last 10 offensive possessions have turned it over 7 times. Vicky Hall, who hit her last shot, can't get that one to go, but Morlakia comes up with the rebound. It's Brown, McConnell, Serio, Hall, Jones, and Bader on the floor, but Andrade will come in. And a foul has been called on Morlakia Jones offensively.
Mary Andrade returning for the Rockers.
So Mary Andrade will return, and Morlakia Jones, that's our Trisha Bader, is going to take a break. Andrade with a strong start in this ball game with 6 points in the early going. Monica Maxwell hanging on to it. Inside to Walters, and a 3-second call. So the Fever continue to have problems. Well, Amy, they just have had no success when they've tried to go low to Kara Walters.
Well, I think the key is they need to reverse the basketball in their offense to get a good look for Kara down low. I watched their practice this morning, Cleveland's, and I'm telling you what, I like the offense that Indiana runs. They just need to set better picks.
Rockers, look at that drought. We've not seen that in Ohio this year.
We saw it last night because I got my flight canceled.
Oh, well, that wasn't a drought. It just rains every day here. Ann Waters scores. Yeah, you had an early wake up today. You spent a lot of time at the airport in Chicago, didn't you?
Have you noticed any strange behavior? Or any stranger than normal, I should say.
Not really. 13-point Cleveland lead. Rubin inside to Walters. Finally, the Fever get it inside to their big center. Kara Walters out of UConn, who will be part of Team USA this fall.
You know, Kara Walters is loving being in Indiana because last year she was a part of that Houston team, didn't see much playing time, and said she feels so much more valued this year. Said she never thought she'd get the feeling back that she had at UConn, but she's got it this year.
Andrade inside to Rusha Brown, muscled it up, no, but drew the foul. Now Mary Andrade with a sprite pass inside to Rusha Brown.
Mike, I got to do my techie thing. This is awesome. This is called a reverse dribble pull, a reverse dribble. As she dribbles away from the basket, what does the defense do? They just naturally stand up, and when they do, you can make that pass in low. Fundamental.
Rusha Brown at the line, first time for a Rocker this evening. Rusha, an 81% free throw shooter.
That's part of why that Orlando win was so nice. You come into Cleveland, Orlando shot about twice as many free throws, and Cleveland still won the ballgame.
That time Rusha misses. She's got 5 points. Rockers lead is 12. 5.5 minutes to play here in the first half at Gund Arena. Mary Andrade in some pain, looks like. Kind of grimacing some.
She's always in pain.
Monica Maxwell lets fly. That one hit the 30-second clock, and that'll give it to the Rockers. Mary Andrade.
45.
Looks like she got it right in the chest bone.
You ready to help?
Well, she's staying in there.
When you play 9 people, you never ever tell your coach that you're hurt, no matter what. Ever.
I think he asked her, you went out? He goes, no. And really, she has taken advantage of her opportunity for the extended minutes. Nice work by the Fever, but Maxwell can't finish the shot. They get it back, though. Grubin with an open look. Merlakia says, let's fly. They got 3 on 2. McConnell Serio, swing top, good. Oh, Susie's been looking a lot better with her shot over the last 10 days.
Well, Susie gives Andrade a high five. I don't know if it was for the pass back to her for the jumper or if it was because she saved her, because Susie's thinking, I shouldn't have made that pass down low to Mary. She couldn't do anything with it.
14-point Cleveland lead, their biggest lead of the evening. And driving to the basket, Monica Maxwell gets fouled. And Monica will go to the line. She's averaging 11.5 a game. There's Susie McConnell Serio. 3rd year in the WNBA. She is like having a coach on the floor.
So you never want to leave the floor unless you know what you want to do with the basketball. And she kind of gave it to Andrade because she was stuck. But you know why she made her shot? Because she gathers her feet, gets herself balanced, and she's got that nice, smooth follow through.
Monica Maxwell hits that free shot out of Louisiana Tech. She stands at the line. Well, that is something. That is such a tried and true thing, and you've talked about it over the years. We've done the games, Amy, that everyone thinks of shooting. You look at arms and things like that, but so much of it is really just getting those feet planted and then being able to unload.
The only player I've ever seen be able to make it no matter which way they were facing was Larry Bird. You ever notice that? He was never facing the basket when he shot it.
And that's, Larry could just, well, he was Larry Bird.
But you know, if he took the time to square up, they probably would have caught him. It would have been a bad thing.
McConnell Serio on the inbound to Mary Andrade. She misses that one. And out of bounds to Cleveland. Mary Andrade with 6 points in the ball game.
Cleveland's executing their inbounds plays. If you notice, after a timeout or a dead ball, they're getting good looks at the basket. You want to try to get between 10 and 15 points a ball game off inbound plays, Mike.
Now the Rockers have won 3 straight. They are right in the hunt in the Eastern Conference off of that big win against Orlando, with a chance to get even closer with a win here tonight. Rusha Brown worked it up and good.
Great ball movement by Cleveland. Every time they dribbled one way and drew a defender, they'd reverse the ball. Very smart.
Well, you hear that term, sharing the ball, and boy, this Rockers team is doing that right now. McCulley has found the stroke. She's hit 3 straight now for 6 points.
She's athletic and she's got some nice skills. Cleveland went into a 2-3 zone that time, and what's open oftentimes against that 2-3 is the high post.
Little hop step by Merlakia, and she got called actually for carrying the basketball, says Tommy Nunez, whose father, Tommy, is a NBA official. Dan Hughes didn't like that call, but he likes the lead. Rockers huddle and hear what Dan Hughes would like the Rockers to do.
Good defense. We got 3 minutes. We want to control these 3 minutes. You understand? That is pivotal to us. So we got to control it defensively. All right. So we're going back man. Now, let's run some rub offensively. All right.
Well, the Rockers in a key stretch of the game, as you hear from the coach. All the good work that they've done so far. You don't want to let Indiana get within the single digits again here. Rockers have shot it pretty well here tonight. Williams inside, McCulley can't get that one to go. Quickly, Andrade ahead of the field. Couldn't score, but Merlakia gets the follow-up.
Well, that was like a quarterback on a football team. She led with the pass, made Andrade run under, and I think made Andrade run a little faster than she wanted to.
She did a nice job just to catch up with that one. Now the Rockers with those second chance opportunities taking advantage. Now they've got numbers the other way. Rusha Brown just couldn't hang on to it.
You might think about how this team responds to Dan Hughes. He said, hey, we got to do it defensively.
Williams misses the 3 try. Now Grubin will unload. And the Fever not very warm from that range here tonight.
McConnell Serio gets the break. Oh, Susie.
Did she get an assist for that?
Yeah, what is that? Is that like, it was like bumper pull. And even Susie's, she doesn't really want to smile too much, because when you're going that good, what goes around comes around. But what do you say after something like that? Let's take a look at it.
You say thank her for the pass.
Look at that. Oh, my. And poor Monica Maxwell. Now there's Susie saying, geez, I really want to smile, but I probably shouldn't. So Susie gets the basket, I guess the assist as well. Coming up on our Fox Sports Net halftime report, we'll hear from head coach Dan Hughes. Amy will talk with Dan. First half, recap all the numbers and highlights. And also, we'll take you right inside the Rockers locker room as Coach Hughes addresses the team. Now, let's hear what the coach is saying to the Rockers right now.
You got it? Okay. Who you got? Williams? Okay. You can shoot it now, all right? Now expect some full court pressure here, possibly. So be smart about that. But keep running the floor. Are you fresh enough to run it? We got to run it. You're running it. You got it? You took it out of bounds. Right. You're thinking you're 4 right now. Okay? Now, look for some rub action right now, especially rub strong, okay? But we can screen on the post. Good legal screens now. But let's keep pushing the ball. Keep running the floor. Just pass and catch it. Now, Helen, when you're coming down, just do what you did the last time. You get it to the middle, get a good stop, look for people to pitch to. Keep running. Keep running. But we got to defend and rebound, ladies, okay? We need you to go get balls for us. Right here. These last 2 minutes, they're going to try to make a run. We got to answer it. We want to go in. We want to go in with some momentum these last 2 minutes. We want to own them. We want to own them. Let's go. Come on. Ready? 1, 2, 3, run.
All right. No mercy from Dan Hughes. You don't want to let the Fever have some fun here tonight as the crowd is enjoying this one. The Rockers, with really, except for that lapse there midway through this first half, they have just done a lot of things to make their coach and fans happy this evening here at Gund Arena. Rockers looking for win number 12 of the season. And they've been very tough here at home. 8-2 at Gund Arena this year. You heard Dan Hughes own them going into the locker room.
Well, this is all about trying to put them away now so that they don't have a chance to get back in the ball game in the second half.
Rockers way up on those high percentage shots known as layups. 8-1. McCullough inside and denied by Ann Waters. So solid defense by the Rockers.
Remember, Mike, this Indiana team is a great three-point shooting team, so a lead at this magnitude is not insurmountable.
Way out it goes to Maxwell. Andrade.
You notice that Dan Hughes' intensity level has picked up as the lead has increased, and I think what happens is he wants his team to feed off of his intensity, Mike, and you just see him raising and elevating it.
Good defensive stop by the Rockers there. The shot clock was down to 2 before Indiana let fly. Andrade's pass deflected, but Helen Darling saves it.
With a ball fake against this zone and reverse it the other direction. As your ball fake, the defense is going to react and go towards it. It will open up the weak side pass.
And Waters, gentle jumper.
As always, ball goes down low. That high post or reversal pass is going to be open.
A minute and change to play in this first half. The Rockers' biggest lead of the evening. McCullough worked it inside, but Waters' presence there altered that shot.
The Cleveland's philosophy is to make the other team shoot it over them, and they're setting themselves up defensively very well.
Oh, how sweet it is. And Waters, a terrific save there to Andrade. And the Rockers doing exactly what their coach wanted them to do during that timeout. Maxwell bumped on the baseline, and there will be a foul on Waters. Well, Ann Waters has demonstrated throughout the season why the Rockers made her the #1 pick. Rockers on an 8-0 run. Push that lead up to 20. Thompson's pass deflected by Waters.
That's the second or third time we've seen Indiana turn the ball over, Mike, just on a passing angle. She's got to kick that ball to the wing and let the wing throw it in.
Well, Dan Hughes thought that Monica Maxwell had fouled her. Looked like she did reach out in late.
Well, Dan, you're up by 20. You're just not going to get every call right now.
Pick your spots.
The Fever, they just play for the final shot here. Looks like that's what they're going to do. Rita Williams backing it up. The Rockers with a 20-point lead. Trying to get this stop here. Williams, 1 against 4, won't go. Waters has it. Rockers with time. 2 seconds, 1 down floor and it won't go. And that'll do it for the first half. And what a first half for Mary Andrade, Dan Hughes, and Merlakia Jones, and the rest of the Rockers. They have nothing but smiles, as they should be smiling. They held Indiana scoreless in the last 3 minutes and 38 seconds of the first half as they take this 20-point lead with them into the locker room. The Rockers got out in front early and took care of business down the stretch. All right, now the Medical Mutual Minute with Dan Hughes is brought to you by Medical Mutual of Ohio, your healthcare partner since 1934. Standing by with Coach Hughes, let's go to Amy Pritchard.
Coach, dynamite first half. What was the key?
Well, I thought defensively, we controlled the tempo a little bit, made it hard for them to run their offense, got some turnovers, and were able to play in transition, which I think is very important for us to get that opportunity.
Okay, now you go into halftime with a big lead. What do you say to your kids to keep the momentum going in the second half?
Well, we got to identify what we did well, and we got to identify they're going to make a run against us, okay? But we got to center on what we did well, what got us the lead, and put it back on the floor again, not rest on this, but continue to stay aggressive.
Hey, great first half. Go get them. Back to you, Mike.
All right, thank you, Amy. Yes, a terrific first half for the Rockers. A lot of folks got involved, and everybody here smiling at the gun. The Rockers lead it by 20. Right ahead.
Those taste so. Every single one.
Taste they love.
See?
You think so?
Leading rebounder, Penachero from Sacramento, top assist maker, former Rocker Elisa Burris, leading the league in field goal shooting. At your, everybody's had. And Amy, you look at this first half, the Rockers executing very well early and then down the stretch of the first half.
Well, I thought they just came out hot, hit 6 for 6 their first shots, but down the stretch, the key was their defense, Mike. You look at how poorly Indiana shot, there's one reason. Cleveland played great defense.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of those first half numbers here and how they favor the Rockers. Our halftime stats brought to you by Giant Eagle. It takes a giant to make life simple. Boy, Amy, you talked about the defense. Look at that, Indiana just 28% from the field.
And remember, Indiana is the #1 shooting three-point team in the league. And Mike, Cleveland's getting out and defending outside at the three-point line, but they're also three-quarter denying or heavy denying Kara Walters down low. I personally think part of Indiana's problem is their shot selection. They're not passing the ball enough before they take the shot.
So the Rockers taking advantage of turnovers, really dominating the game at both ends of the floor. And the other thing they've been able to do is they've had a very balanced scoring attack. Let's take a look at the individual scoring leaders in this evening's game. Our halftime leaders brought to you by Kraft Miracle Whip. A sandwich just isn't a sandwich without the tangy zip of Miracle Whip.
You're making me hungry. What can I say?
Well, look at those. Merlakia Jones with 9. Andrade with 8, Ruscia, Susie, and Ann Waters. Everybody getting involved.
Well, think about it. If you're playing Cleveland, what do? Who do you stop? You stop somebody today. Chastity Melvin's typically who most teams try to stop. You don't even see her on that leaderboard. So I think Cleveland's strength is their diversity and the number of different people that can put points on the board.
So the Rockers in command here at the half. We'll take a look at the way they did it in the first half. We'll look at some of those first half highlights as well. Our halftime report continues on Fox Sports Net. 20 over the Indiana Fever. They've had a lot of fun here at Gund Arena this evening, and let's take a look at our first half highlights, brought to you by Medical Mutual of Ohio. How can we help? Well, here's how the Rockers help each other. Look at that pass into Mary Andrade.
Well, ball reversal. Andrade does a great job of pinning her defender.
And Waters doing it on the defensive end of the floor.
And Susie says, I'll come bring her to you, Ann. Block her shot.
And Lake Jones hooking on the baseline.
Again, this Cleveland team so unselfish, making the extra pass for the open look.
And boy, when you're going good.
My personal favorite, I'm going to do it all myself.
What could Susie do there just to hold the lap? But look at Ann Waters, the athletic ability she has, saving that one and then dealing it out to Mary Andrade. Wow.
Think about where she was. She was in transition doing that as well. It's not a matter of just running through the lane.
Well, the Rockers feeling good. Let's find out how good Coach Hughes is feeling as we take you inside the Cleveland locker room.
Or we're choosing to bounce it from the top, for example, where you know they can get three-quarter and get a hand and deflect on that. Try to shorten the passing lanes and just make sure we're seeing the numbers, and then we can put the ball away from the defense so that the post players can catch it. But I still want to go there very, very much. So I want that intent to stay the same. I just want the execution to be such that we're reading defense and we're putting the ball in there quickly. Because the real key is the fact that you've made them guard in the post offensively. A lot of the things we've done, we've been able to play some in transition, we got some decent shots, but in the half court, they've had to guard in the post. And we got to make them guard in the post again. Because right now, they're going to extend defense. They have to extend defense. So we're alert to press out, okay? We are alert to double teams in the half court. They did that too. You know, we're giving the 3 receivers. And most of all, in the half court, we're alert to moving the basketball effectively in whatever we're running and going into the block when we can. And if they start doubling, we'll come right back out and we'll get good looks. Ball movement's real important this half, because I think they'll do some things to try to speed the game up or speed our offense up. If we move the basketball, we'll get high percentage shots, and that's really what we want to do, regardless of the score. Okay, we want to make them have to guard in that area. Any questions, coaches? Anything?
No, they're doing a great job of hedging, though, you guys. Great
Let's
job.
get back out on the floor, play it just like it's that, and reestablish what we did in the first half. Right again. Here we go. Come on, right up here. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Rockers. Let's go.
Reestablish what they did in the first half as Coach Hughes allows us to join him in the Rockers locker room. And Amy, you look at the Rockers numbers, the way they're moving the ball. You've talked a lot about that inside game opening everything else up.
Well, you notice Dan Hughes said, hey, don't throw the ball inside unless you can see the numbers and you can make the pass away from the defense. If the defense is denying, you've got to make one more dribble so that you can see the numbers of who you're passing to. Cleveland had 3 or 4 turnovers trying to force the ball inside. But what I like about Dan is he completes his thought. He says, hey, the intent is to get the ball inside. I'm not saying throw it if they're not open. He said, I'm saying throw it when it's open.
See the numbers of your teammate. Otherwise, it's not there.
Can't see them.
Go somewhere else.
Right. Can't see them. They're not open.
Probe around until you find it. And the Rockers overall have done a nice job with that. They had 1 lapse. Now you're up by 20. You can just hear the Rockers feel very good about things in the first half, but you want to come out now and just really not allow the Fever to get any ideas here.
Well, this is one of the values of playing 9 players, because if somebody's not intense defensively, I think Coach Hughes will be watching that very, very closely, because he's going to want intense defense here the first 3-4 minutes of the second half. If he's not getting that, I'd look for him to sub very early.
Thursday, July 20th is Kids and Seniors Day with the Rockers when Cheryl Swoop, Cynthia Cooper, and the Houston Rockets come to Gund Arena for a special noontime tip-off. Call 216-263-ROCK to find out how you can get a free hot dog and soft drink with ticket purchase, courtesy of Medical Mutual of Ohio. This Thursday, the Comets will be in town, the defending champs, knocked off last night. Andrade and Melvin on the floor for Cleveland. Chastity Melvin in foul trouble all night long. She has not been much of a factor in the Rockers' 20-point lead. Inside, Alicia Thompson couldn't handle it. And now Mary Andrade gets it back. And Chastity Melvin gets that pass, and then see those numbers. And Chastity's first basket of the game comes to start the second half, and the Rockers with their biggest lead of the night.
Well, when you've got a team that's got good post passers, which Cleveland has, it makes you so effective. How many times have we seen Cleveland get the high-low look from high post down to low? It's tough to defend.
Kara Walters inside, and Kara fouled by Mary Andrade. That's number 1 on Mary.
Mike, think about it. You got Kara Walters. She's 6'7" or 6'8". She's down on the low block. If you let them lob the ball to her, she's going to catch the ball. You got to put heavy pressure on the passer. Notice Rusha Brown there. She just needs to put more pressure on the passer so that the pass can't be where Kara Walters wants it.
Kara Walters had 2 points in the first half. She averages better than 12 points a game. Well, the Rockers, to this point, have kept her in check. As you get a look at her overall numbers, leading the expansion Indiana Fever, who had won 2 straight coming into tonight's game. They've had a very good week, but the Rockers have had them down all evening long. The Rockers in the midst of this 5-game homestand, with Houston coming in Thursday and then Miami on Saturday. McConnell Serio misses, but Merlakia Jones, good hustle offensive rebound.
Well, when Cleveland passes the ball to the wing, Indiana is choosing to double team, and Cleveland smartly just gives it back to the point guard.
And Chas Melvin finds Merlakia Jones.
When you play against a team like Indiana that takes chances, once you start paying attention to what they do, you can burn them either by a give and go, which is what Lake just did, or quick ball reversals.
Rita Williams working her dribble outside. It's Williams, Thompson, Maxwell, Grubin, and Walters on the floor. Kara Walters draws the double team, looks for help, doesn't find any. Rockers ball.
That Indiana team offense just standing around against that zone.
15 turnovers on the minute already.
Check out Merlakia Jones. You just see the tail end of it, but defensively, Rita Williams got caught standing. Lake says, hey, I'll just take you to the bucket. We'll give and go. That means you give the ball to someone and you go to the basket.
Mary Andrade. Melvin getting inside, split the defense and scores. Chas now with 4 points. She's got some work to do to get to her scoring average of 12.4 a game. You know, you think about it, Amy, without Nemkova and Chastity Melvin in foul trouble in the first half, the Rockers go out to a 20-point lead without 2 key players like that. Here's Andrade on the baseline. Rubin comes away. And the Fever finally get out and run. And Rita Williams scores her second basket of the game. She now has 5 points.
Indiana's not doing a very good job on the boards, Mike. Cleveland's got 2 or 3 offensive rebounds already early in the second half. And if they do a better job on the board, they've got some athleticism at the guard position. They could run.
Rockers leading with the easy baskets tonight, as you just saw on that graphic. Here's Williams. A little trouble pass to Thompson. And the Fever now with a couple of easy baskets.
Now that was smart. Susan McConnell Serio was defending Rita. She says, I know you got me. I'm going to take you towards the other defender as well and make her commit. That was Chas Melvin, and that opens up her teammate. Very smart.
And Merlakia Jones gets double teamed and fouled. And it's actually Alicia Thompson away from the ball in a battle with Rusha Brown.
Okay, all you basketball players, you catch the ball. Look what happens when you put it above your head. You can get double teamed. Duck your head, bend down, and try to step through that tap. See that wide open space, Mike? You and I could have gotten through there.
You think so?
If we could have bent our knees.
Hard to see. Bend the knees. Yeah, the thing of it. Bend down too low, may not get back up.
Well, you know what? If you get down that low, you don't want to go.
Okay. Chastity Melvin working hard inside and draws the foul. So persistence pays off for Chastity. Her second year out of NC State.
How many times this year have we seen Cleveland? Somebody plays great the first half, somebody else plays great the second half. And there you see her just get busy and get after it herself. You know, the toughest person to box out, or the easiest person, is the shooter, but it's also the person most people forget to box out.
And that's where if you don't go, ah, darn, or whatever, after you miss and you just stay alive and they come back to you.
Follow your shot. Heard it all my life. Follow your shot.
Chastity Melvin with 6 second-half points. So Chastity didn't figure in the scoring in the first half, but she is here to lend a hand as we go through the early minutes of this second half with the Rockers in command. This Rockers team, boy, you just touched on it, Amy. It has been not only someone maybe different every night, but each half. And Melvin gets her 4th foul now as Danielle McCulley worked it inside against Chastity.
Those post players for Indiana will take the ball and penetrate from the high post. That looks like it was on ground. Did they call that on Melvin?
They did call it on Chastity, I believe. Number 4 on her. And that's why Ann Waters is going to check right back into the ball game.
That was interesting.
Well, Chas Melvin with 4 fouls. Her playing time has been just about 10 minutes here this evening. She sits down with 6 points, all coming in the second half. McCulley connects at the line. Rockers lead is 20. 16-20 to play.
Indiana has been doing some funky things after makes all night. Some sort of trapping a full court, or they'll trap when the ball goes to wing. They need to do that to try to create some opportunities.
Marianne Dry got an opening and drew the foul, going to the basket. Sitting down and taking that hit was McCulley, and she gets the foul to go with it.
Here's what I don't understand, and we're going to see it from it. Off to your right side is where the official is. He's behind the play, and he makes the call. It's a good call, but he's standing behind the play. That's what I don't understand about how having 3 officials has changed who makes the calls, Mike. It's kind of weird. You'd sure rather have the official that's beside it, seeing who's moving, make the call.
Marianne Drott at the line. And Mary has been the starter since A&M Kova went down. And let's take a look at those numbers. Wow. Just, she's doing a little bit of everything, and you don't even see what she's doing defensively. With the assists, though, finding your teammates. She gets them both. She's got 10 points.
You know, think about early on, Mike, she was contributing defensively, right? The more you play, the more you get confidence. The more you get confidence, the more you try things offensively that you don't typically try.
And Mary actually has been devastating from 3-point range. We've got a official timeout on the floor, and it's all Cleveland here at the gun. Hale Elementary winning numbers, and take note, this is the first night of the Super Lot. Early going of this second half. Cleveland led by 20 at the half. And McCulley driving in on Ann Waters, and Ann Waters is going to pick up a personal foul.
Make an interesting article on the webpage for the Rockers about who are the players that are most often in the weight room. Ann Waters, Susie McConnell-Syria. I thought that was kind of interesting. Ann Waters isn't a surprise, but Susie, they thought coming off the injuries she's had, really needed to make sure she had balance in her muscles this year.
As McCulley hits that shot, she now has 10. And one thing it seems, Amy, as the season's gone on, she seems stronger. She's been much more together with her shot of late.
Notice how she gets it, but she gets her plenty of her reps. If you're playing 20 minutes of ball game, you've got plenty of time to gather yourself.
And Waters getting fouled inside. So the Rockers probing that defense, going in low. And Ann Waters will visit the line for a couple.
Check this out. Right here, Susie makes that pass to Lake. Again, Indiana's looking to trap that. What I'd like to see Susie do is ball fake that pass to Lake, toss it to the other side. Waters does a nice job of catching that ball with heavy dig.
Waters misses that one. She's been a good shooter at the line, 69%.
But again, Indiana wants to trap on that initial pass in, so just fake it, let them rush out to it, and reverse the ball.
And with 6 boards in that first half, she now has 7 points in the ball game. So Ann Waters getting minutes tonight with Chastity Melvin in some foul trouble. And single game high with for points is 12. She's got a shot of that. She's already matched her best rebounding night of the year as a rookie with 6 boards. Stromagita into the game now for the Fever. Maxwell unloads, misses, and Lake comes up with the rebound, number 7 for her.
Sometimes what happens when you're a 3-point shooting team is you have a tendency to stand around and just shoot the ball from the outside. That's what Indiana's done a majority of tonight.
Merlakia Jones. Now Merlakia, she's got that mid-range jump shot. And she now has 11, or rather 13.
One of the things I think Coach Donovan's going to be talking to her team about is I haven't seen Indiana get in anybody's face on Cleveland's team and force them to change their shot tonight. They've been able to get open looks.
And Grubin's miss, and a loose ball foul is called on McCulley, number 5 for Danielle. Well, she has 10 points, but she's got 5 fouls. Kind of a nickel-dime night. What do you think?
I thought it was a grand effort.
It's a grand effort.
A grand effort.
Grand effort. Arusha Brown. And Arusha now with 9 points.
You know, that was a perfect pass. Notice how the pass was made to the outside hand away from the D, and it allowed Arusha to turn right into the pass.
The Rockers, look at those numbers, 64% from the field. And much like we saw in the first 6 minutes of the game, Amy, here you are, the Rockers, they have 5 or 6 people have already scored in the first 5 minutes of a half. That's so big, isn't it, to just get everybody feeling their part of it.
But when you run the right offense, you get different looks for different people at different points in the offense. And I think that's what Cleveland's doing is executing offensively. You know what they want to do is go to the inside. But when you go inside, you can always get the open look back out.
Lakia misses that one. Still a long ways to go in this one, but the Rockers up by 25 points and playing solid basketball here as the Fever turn it over for the 16th time this evening. And Ann Donovan can only look on. Of course, her team did play last night. They had a big win at home against Seattle. Earlier this week, they won on the road at Washington. They're 5-14, an expansion team.
0-4 in back-to-backs. Now, Cleveland's better on the second day of back-to-backs. Isn't that interesting?
That is. That really is.
My theory?
They've just done. You have a theory on that?
I have a theory.
I would like to hear that.
My theory is that sometimes when you're tired, you focus more and you slow down more. And as you slow down, you have to execute better, and then you're more effective.
And that's something you've talked about the Rockers when they've been patient offensively. They've had success. It's been quite a story, though, Amy, when you look at this team, when Ava Nemkova goes down, and what a talent, surefire all-star. And here this team on the verge of going 5-1 without her. What have they been able to do? What's kind of happened that they've been able to not only counter Ava's absence, but go on and win big?
Well, I think when bad things happen, it does one of two things. Either A, it forces you to segregate and fight among yourselves and get, oh no, get down. Or two, it forces you to pull together. And I think Ava going down, this team has decided, hey, we're going to win anyway. It's provided other opportunities for new players, and I think they just made up their mind they're going to win no matter what.
Waters against Stromagita.
Got away with an offensive foul there.
And Drew draws the foul. So things go in the Rockers' direction here tonight. Jurgita Stromagita.
She about put Jurgita. I'm sorry, Mike. She about put Jurgita down on that first little elbow before she get. That's an example of how they always catch the second person who fouls.
Stromagita looks on and shakes her head as Ann Waters is back at the stripe and connects.
You like that name too, don't you?
Once you break it down, when you first look at it, you say, how do I pronounce this? But that little ring to it.
Once I explained it to you, you're okay.
Arusha Brown, what you said down and broke it down to me. Ann Waters now with 9 points. She's 2 away from her best as a pro in the WNBA.
Good point.
Tremitier is checking in, so is McCarty. And McCarty's been quiet tonight, has not scored. She had 16 the other night and is averaging nearly 9 a game off the bench. Let's see if I woke her up. Yep, I did.
She came in very early in the first half and played 6 or 7 minutes and then didn't play much thereafter.
Great college player at Purdue gets her first basket of the game.
Mike, she's the kind of player that needs people to set picks and get her open.
Oh, that was way too easy. Mary Andrade with a smile chest. Melvin says, thank you very much.
Nadia Barnes is saying, I'm down here on the end of the bench. I'm thinking I'm going to get some playing time tonight.
I think Adia better be ready. And Cully now with 14 points. 32-12. All the paint belongs to Cleveland tonight.
One positive for Indiana as I've been watching is this Danielle McCulley. I think can play. Good size.
But the Rockers right now just dominant everywhere here tonight. Better than 9,000 in attendance tonight. And the Rockers have not disappointed at all.
They play hard and they play together as a team.
And the Fever not able to get up to 98.6 tonight. Another block by Waters. She has had a field day out of bounds off of Indiana. Ann's third block of the night. She is filling up the stat sheet, and it's a stat sheet that favors Cleveland all the way on Fox Sports Net.
Mike, everybody's concerned about Kara Walters. Well, look out, Ann Waters. She's got 3 blocks tonight. She's got 8 rebounds, which is a career high for her. And we've seen her get up and down the floor in transition. There you see her with an offensive board. 11 points. She's only played 19 minutes. Talk about effective.
And the Rockers needed it tonight because Chastity Melvin's been in foul trouble all evening long. Well, this rookie from Belgium, #1 pick overall, the Rockers had it, and the more you see her play, you can see why they elected to go with Ann as the choice. And Amy, you say that she's working so hard in the weight room, and you need to be able to muscle up in this league. And it looks like, and actually she does look stronger now than when she did first arrive.
Well, she does look stronger. The other thing, though, is I think she's just getting more confident. She wasn't used to the physical play in the WNBA. It's going to take a while.
Vicky Hall gets her second basket of the game. Rockers have Hall, Melvin, Waters, Bader, and Darling on the floor right now with just over 10 minutes to play. This is the Rockers' biggest lead of the night at 28. McCarty, I don't know, she might have got away with an extra step there, but the Rockers really in a position. They'll name the score here this evening.
But again, think about what Indiana's doing. If Stephanie White McCarty's got to create the shots by penetrating, that's not the way for Indiana to be successful.
Rockers dominating their glass, and really there's every phase of the game they have control. It's visible on that score. And Pollyanna Johns is going to check in for the Rockers, and Ann Waters will sit down, and a nice ovation from the crowd. Ann sits down, a career high 8 boards. She has 11 points in the book. 3 block shots. Pretty good evening, Ann. Pollyanna Jones, player from Michigan in her second year in this league. And I know, Amy, you're high on Pollyanna as someone that could be a player that helps this team.
Well, as a senior, she played for Michigan and tore her knee up during the tournaments, or right prior to the tournaments. And Michigan would have made a nice run had she stayed healthy. But I'm still upset because she was in Evanston, Illinois, where she grew up. Northwestern did not sign her, so she had to go to Michigan.
Pollyanna Johns is in the game for the Rockers. It's Johns, Hall, Bader, Darling, and Melvin on the floor for the Rockers. Pollyanna at 1.2 points a game. And she was in Charlotte with Coach Hughes last year, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. But, you know, she's another player who's really worked on her conditioning and her strength. She's I don't want to say she's bulked up, but she looks stronger to me than she did when she was at Michigan.
McCarty working in against Vicky Hall. Nope, and Pollyanna Johns with the rebound. Outlet to Bader. Trishel trying to go inside. Got it to Chas Melvin. And that time she got in a little too deep against Stramakita.
Will you tell me, Mike, have you seen a difference in the defensive intensity of this Cleveland team in the second half?
Yeah, the Rockers really, no matter who's out there, they just seem like they just are relentless.
And you know what that is? You got to play hard, because you know if you don't, there's somebody else that can come in and do that.
Bader misses from long range. Trisha had 8 the other night, though. An opportunity for a number of the Rockers that haven't had that many minutes to get those tonight.
I asked Dan about it. You know, he's got 3 point guards, Bader, Darling, and McConnell Serio. I said all 3 of them are playing well, and that's rare because oftentimes whoever plays the most minutes is the one that has the confidence and excels. He said he thinks the key is that they all bring different things to the team. Bader's playing some 2 guard right now. Darling is young and just growing into her role, and Susie already knows what she wants to do and how she wants to do it.
Well, the Rockers turn it over, but it has been nothing but good things for Cleveland here tonight, and we have more to come on Fox Sports Net.
Nothing comes easy to this team for the next 8 minutes, okay? We're not fouling. If they score over top of us, okay. but they're not getting second shots. They're not breaking us down, and we're not reaching. Got it? Let's go, lady. Come on. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
All right, nothing easy for the Fever. Well, the Rockers are going to have a tough one this coming Thursday. Boy, what a game it could be with Houston in town, the Rockers and the Comets. Rockers backpack to the first 5,000.
I'm real curious to see how this Rockers team will measure up with them.
And this is the only meeting of the year with Houston, so it'll be telltale. Here's my question for you, Mike. Who are you picking?
Well, you know, this Rockers team, and sure, I'll admit a bias. This is the team that I follow, you know, and see on a regular basis, but it's really interesting. You see this team, they take care of each other. Dan Hughes, really, they all seem to be real comfortable with Dan, and everybody getting involved. I think this is a team that if I'm someone else, maybe you look at you say, well, where's the big star on this team? But it's the sum of their parts. We get a look at Adia Barnes checking in. She was recently brought on board after Ava Nemkova was down. But this is an interesting group, and they talk to each other. They're really, if I'm an opponent, I better be wary of the Cleveland Rockers here.
So you're not going to give me an answer?
I'm going to say this, that I think at home they will be very tough against Houston, but the Comets are so good, and they've had their squabbles, I guess, with Cooper, and she's going to retire, and supposedly she's doing that because she's not happy that Swoops is now the #1, and Tina Thompson's an outstanding. I mean, they're a very good team. But I think the Rockers certainly have a shot at him here at home.
Well,
no question.
Yeah, defensively, if Cleveland can defend the big three, Houston hasn't had much success with anybody else offensively. And one of the things I like about Cleveland is they play great team defense right now. Now throw in the little wild card, what if Cooper's not back? Gives Cleveland a pretty doggone shot.
Pollyanna Johns hits the shot. And I think regardless of what happens Thursday, there's so much more to happen in this WNBA season. The Rockers trying to get the best possible playoff spot they can and have now a viable shot at the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Walters fouled inside by Johns. And you shake it up in the East. I think the thing is the Rockers, you know, you get a win like this, you wonder if they get. You could hear Dan during that break. All right, nothing easy. You don't want them to get overconfident right now. And whoever maybe kind of deals with success as well as adversity may be the one smiling at the end.
I think the key is focus right now for Cleveland. They just need to continue to work hard. There again, look at Kara Walters, 6'7" against Pollyanna Johns. Big mismatch down low. The key is who's defending the passer. If you've got the passer in that situation, you've got to smother him and not allow him to make that pass.
Now the Rockers up 66-38, 6:48 to play.
Good press breaker there by Cleveland.
Rockers got out in front early, led 14-3, and really continue to extend that lead throughout the evening. Vicky Hall. We've not seen much of Adia Barnes.
30 seconds.
Our next telecast coming up on Fox Sports Net, and it could be a huge game in terms of the Eastern Conference standings. The Rockers in New York. July 29th, 7:30 tip right here on Fox Sports Net.
You and I, man, in the Big Apple.
In the Big Apple. Chewing away at it.
Bring the chariot.
That's right. It'll be fun. That could be a huge game as the Liberty very much in the picture in the Eastern Conference when you look at those standings.
They've won 5 in a row. They're hot right now.
In fact, they are basically percentage points tied with the Rockers for second place. So that'll be a big one. We look forward to having you with us when the Rockers go to Manhattan. There's the Rockers bench, and everybody feeling pretty good right now. And they'll get a little break here. Well, Merlikia Jones will go to Phoenix for the All-Star break with the Rockers with a few days before Houston comes to town on Thursday at noon. High noon.
There you go. We should tell everybody that Ava Nemkova came out of surgery fine. She was in pretty good shape when she went in, and that's important for rehab. And from what I understand, Mike, she's going to stick around and do a rehab in Cleveland, which is very important.
And Ava, what a terrific talent. There's a foul called on quitting. All right, with the Rockers winning here tonight, they will move within 1/2 game of the Orlando Miracle for first. But as you can see, only a half better than New York.
And still the top 4 qualify for the playoffs, so you got to keep on playing them as Barnes connects for the Rockers. Dan Hughes doesn't look like a man with a really 30-point lead as we look over at him.
He's fun to listen to.
Well, that's been just
concise.
A great feature, I think, for our telecast as Dan's allowed us into the huddle. And that's one of the things you like about him, Amy, in terms of the way he talks to the team about doesn't use any more words than he needs, does he?
Well, he's very concise and he's very clear about what he wants. And the other thing I like about him is he's very positive. You know, there's ways to put things to your team. He makes you think this is what you're going to get. There you see a nice little back door on weak side. Helen just got caught looking. Oh, sweet.
Rita Williams connecting for the Fever. Well, Dan has done an outstanding job. No question about that. Here's Tricia Bader gets through. Can't get it, but Pollyanna Johns hustling. Barnes. The whole bench came up. They wanted Adia to hit that one.
She was a great player at Arizona. I worked one of her games when she was a senior.
McCarthy misses. And the Rockers 3-on-1. And Vicki Hall gets fouled. And that's the thing is, as we look over at the Rockers bench, Amy, here they are. They're on their feet cheering some of the players who haven't had many minutes. And that's one of the things. That's why I think they're a dangerous team in this league right now. They've got everybody on the same page, working for the big picture.
Well, that's the whole key. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody's focusing on what they need to do well for the team to be successful. But, you know, this is a great game for everybody on the team because it's quality time minutes for Adia Barnes and for Pollyanna Johns and even Tricia Bader.
And boy, you know, as well as they played without Ava, you know they would welcome her back in a heartbeat. And really, Ava, even after the injury, because she underwent the surgery last week, she stayed around. And Dan Hughes talked about this, how important Ava's been as kind of a comfort factor, friend, mentor for Ann Waters and some of the other frontline players on the Rockers team. Ava's presence says she's a good teacher and friend.
Well, I saw her after the game Monday night getting something to eat with Ann Waters. Yeah, I think she takes her responsibility as a leader and kind of mentoring these, I want to call them freshmen, but they're rookies, mentoring these rookies into professional land.
And Ann's just 19 years old, and when you take a close look, you can see that's all she is.
19 years old, and think about it. Here's the part that would get me is going overseas to play at 19 and not having mom and dad and the extended family there. That takes a brave soul.
And really, she arrived and basically training camp started, so not much time to kind of just get comfortable. And I think that's one area where Ava Nemkova has had to have been very beneficial for Ann, because as I recall for Ava's first year, I think she came in and training camp was already in progress. She had to go through some of those things.
I remember Isabel Figelkowski told me there, she said, don't be misled. Ava knows more what's going on and understands you than she's acting.
25-point lead. Now Ava would say, oh, no, that's not true.
And she smiled, just with a twinkle in her eyes.
So
yeah, you busted me.
We really do wish her well and look forward to seeing her around through the season as she rehabilitates that knee now. And that is certainly an injury that they've just done so much with now that once they get her done, she'll start her rehab and certainly should be 100% for the start of next season.
Well, there you see Pollyanna says, hey, you got a little bit of her arm there. Indiana trying to score on their own, though, Mike, instead of allowing the offense to do the work. If you run a good offense, and I've seen what they run a nice offense, and you execute it, you're going to get open looks without having to create very many on your own.
Well, the Rockers with a 24-point lead, looking at some pressure, and out of bounds to Indiana. So things a little raggedy right now for the Rockers. Ann Donovan looking on. That's kind of an interesting story as Ann is coaching this year, but next year she will relinquish the duties to Nell Fortner, who is going to be coaching the Team USA this year, or is coaching that.
Well, the deal is she's the assistant this year. I'm sorry, the head this year will be the assistant next year. But you know the real deal there, Mike, is you come in, you try to do a good job, and you say, hey, hopefully I'll move to my own program. She was a head coach in the ABL, was a head coach at Eastern Carolina. And as a matter of fact, look how well preserved she looked. She is exactly my age.
Well, she looks terrific.
almost criminal.
She's exactly your age.
Well, I hope she's younger, but she...
All right, 3:51 to play. The Rockers on the head end by 24 here at Gund Arena. The Rockers in command here at Gund Arena this evening. Folks having a good time. And I don't know if you've met old Rocky Raccoon. Yeah, Rocky spicing it up at the Gun this year. Reminder, following tonight's Rockers Fever game, you can check out Cavs Fast Break. It's the post-draft edition. We'll hear from the #1 pick, Chris Minn, GM Jim Paxson, Coach Randy Whitman. And then following Cavs Fast Break tonight, you gotta see this. It's all coming up on Fox Sports Net. Following the Rockers as they are going to get their 12th win of the season tonight. As Vicky Hall takes it to the basket. Vicky now with 7 points in the ball game. He was a solid addition to the Rockers this year, signed as a free agent. Nice career collegiately at Texas.
Like she started early in the year, and the reason she started is because she worked so hard in practice. And as time has worn on, she hasn't shot real well from the field, and I think that's why she's played diminished minutes. But you might say, why is she in the ball game right now? Because she's earned it in practice.
And Helen Darling, who was the second pick after the Rockers selected Ann Waters, and it was a joy for Dan Hughes that night when Helen's name was still out there when they came around after they completed one round, and he made her the first selection of the second round, and she has stepped in and combining her with Susie McConnell-Serio and Trisha Bader of late. The Rockers with a nice rotation that Amy alluded to earlier. 2:28 to go in this one. Helen Darling out of Penn State. McCarty triggers that inbound. And nothing doing there for the Fever. Katrina Gaither taking that errant shot. But it's name your score time here at the Gun. But the Rockers next one next Thursday at noon. The defending champion Comets, who have shown they mean business and doing it again.
Here's what's interesting to me. I asked Dan Hughes today, I said, what you going to do for the All-Star game? You going to go out and have some fun? He goes, I'm staying here. I'm watching film. He goes, it's a great time to look at what you've been doing and decide if you want to put anything new in, if you want to change things. And he said, oh, by the way, we play Houston Thursday. So for those of you who think that he's just going to be out having fun, as is the rest of the team, oh, no, they're going to practice Tuesday, by the way.
And really with the compressed schedule, it's not like they want to take 3 days away from it, because and you think about it, Amy, they play Thursday morning really at noon, so it's not as big a break as it may look on paper. Pollyanna John follows her missed shot and gets the offensive foul.
Doing the right thing, following her shot, being aggressive.
And then the Rockers, after the ball game Thursday, they turn around and host Miami on Saturday. And we were talking before they started tonight's game. The Rockers just 2-3 against expansion teams. 2 of those losses to Miami. So if there's a group that they owe one to, it's Ron Rothstein's Soul that will be here next Saturday night.
The next 3 games, I think, are pretty critical. You said it earlier, Houston, Miami, and then they're at Phoenix. Those are the 2 teams, Phoenix and Houston, that have better records. And you said earlier, Miami 2 losses. So those next 3 games, Mike, pretty telltale.
They can get a couple of those. As Texlin Quinney makes that free shot.
What interests me is when you listen to Joe Tate, he'll tell you, he'll go, okay, here's how many games we're going to win out of this trip. And he's, you know what, he's been doing it so many years, that radio stuff, that he's got it down, and he's right more times than not.
Yeah, well, Joe knows where you've got a shot at winning, and really with road trips, too, there are certain games, I think, no matter where you're at, if it's a 3 or 4 game trip, there's there's going to be a couple clunkers in there.
Well, he's an E.F. Hutton of Cleveland.
Carol Walters inside. Boy, she has not been a factor tonight.
1 minute.
7 points for Carol. As the Rockers are going to get their 12th win of the season. And pretty much we knew that not far into this game. Very early tonight, where you could see the Rockers were going to get in front and not allow the Fever a chance to really get it going. They never got warmed up tonight. Foul is called on Adia Barnes, Chantel Tremitiere. 39 seconds remain in this one. Dan Hughes will look on, and as Amy said, rather than take much time off for the break, he'll worry about the Houston Comets on Thursday. The Indiana Fever will fall to 5-15.
Whoever's got it half full will run it there.
Dan still shouting out the instructions here. Tremitiere converts. She has 3 points in the ballgame. A veteran who's bounced around a bit in the WNBA.
We've seen her here, as I recall. I don't know if she was a blonde then, though. Of course, I don't know if I was a blonde then either.
Let's see. What do you think about that?
Only my hairdresser and I really know.
All right.
And my mother.
All right, the Rockers lead it by 21. That's kind of a misleading number, actually, as they've been so much in control. Vicki Hall from long range. That is a three. Yeah, that's good to see for Vicki, who's had trouble with her shot. Yeah, the Fever just played a running out. Vicki Hall now with a 10-point game. 10 seconds left, and the Fever will just dribble it out tonight. The Cleveland Rockers getting it done. Tremitiere takes the shot. Nope. Bader comes up with it. It is all over here at the Gund. A convincing victory for Dan Hughes and his Cleveland Rockers tonight. And Waters with a big game. Susie McConnell-Serio, a strong game. As the Rockers really got everybody involved this evening. And that's what it took to win going away over the Indiana Fever here at Gund Arena tonight, as the confetti flutters down here at the Gund, where the Rockers are now 9-2 on their home floor, and 2 more to go in this homestand that the Rockers have taken care of business in. There's Ann Waters embracing Stremikita as Jurgita, a native of Lithuania, so they may have played against each other in Europe. And the Rockers fans waving to their fans. Mary Andrade signaling #1, and the Rockers playing that way. In fact, they've moved now within 1/2 game of being #1 in the Eastern Conference as they go to 12-8, putting some pressure on the Orlando Miracle in the Eastern Conference. 79-55, the Rockers win it, and Amy Pritchard is standing by with one of our stars of the game. Let's go to Amy.
Rusha, great game for you and your team. What do you think the key was today?
We were just persistent and going to the boards. We got a lot of easy looks in the first half. We shot like 64 or 65% in the first half. In the second half, we just continued to play.
Now, I don't remember the stats, but inside scoring, inside the post, you guys were dynamite. What was going on there?
I don't know. We just talked to Lisa. She's always encouraging us to be aggressive and go to the hole, because their post players couldn't defend us because we're more agile. So we just looked to push it at them, and we did well.
I heard there's somebody you want to say hi to.
My mom! Hi, Mom!
Well, we want to thank you for doing that breast awareness commercial. Hey, you got Houston coming up Thursday. What do you got to do?
Everybody has to play well. Houston is an excellent team on all cylinders. They inside and out. And we have to be at the top of our game and not focus so much on them, but concentrate on all the things that we do well.
Now, Chastity Melvin was in foul trouble tonight. You played well, and Waters played well. Talk about what practice is like for you guys.
We kill each other. I mean, you never know who's going to do what, because we're so aggressive playing against each other. And when we get in the game, anybody can step up and do well.
Any news on Ava?
Ava had her surgery, and, you know, she's a little woozy now because she's on